I want to kind of step back for myself and talk to you about the beauty industry and some of my work there, because I have a lot of people. I think I was invited to the conference because of my book, which is now 10 years old, unfortunately still relevant, Not Just a Pretty Face, The Ugly Side of the Beauty Industry, about how we investigated and reported a lot of what is in the products that we're putting on our bodies, on our faces. And then kind of talk about how that got me into the food movement, because it really is a story of a grassroots rising of so many women that I've met all around the country, all around the world, and largely women, because I worked a lot on cosmetics, and so it would be mostly women who came to my talk. Women whose kids are sick, who can't get pregnant, whose kids have allergies or asthma, who are dealing with cancer at young ages, who are saying what's going on, and starting to come to communities like this to find answers, to find people, to find food as a path to healing. So my vision in that took me from cosmetics work and advocacy to the food industry was that I saw it was kind of not really the same people that were involved in both of those movements to push beauty companies and push food, but they had all the same concerns. So my hope, it turned out to be a lot harder than I thought, but my hope is that passion and activism for changing companies in the market can also be applied to taking back our political system, because we absolutely have to fix these problems. So with cosmetics, I got into cosmetics because of a chemical called phthalates. And has anyone heard of that chemical? Yeah, it's gotten quite a lot of news recently, but this was almost 20 years ago. We got interested in cosmetics because the CDC started to do studies 20 years ago looking at the urine of Americans, analyzing them for chemicals linked to a range of health issues. And the very first cohort of data they put out showed that phthalate, they weren't even looking for phthalates. They found this spike in the mass spectrometer that they were using to look at the urine. What is that chemical? They figured out it was phthalates. They found it in almost everyone, almost every single American they looked at. They were looking at thousands of people. But they found that it was much higher in women of childbearing age. So we thought, why would that be? That phthalates are used in plastics. They're kind of that stinky plastic smell, the vinyl shower curtain, the greasy, the rubber duck. We all know phthalates because we've experienced them. But why they would be in women's bodies more than men, we didn't know. So we decided to look at cosmetics. The researchers I worked with thought that might be a viable theory, so we went out squinting at labels, looking for that word, didn't find it really in any cosmetics. So we decided to test a bunch of products, and we sent 72 products to a lab, shampoos, deodorants, lotions, face creams. We found most of them contained phthalates, 2/3, but they weren't on the label. So we started a campaign. This was actually an ad that ran in the New York Times. It also had all the products listed that we tested, and it was a full page. This kind of caused a big stir. We had a funder who wanted to pay, very expensive, to pay for an ad in the New York Times. And we chose this slogan, "Sexy for her, for baby it really could be poison," because does anyone recognize the bottle she's holding there, what product that is? Somebody said it, poison. Yeah, it's funny. As time goes on, I hear that answer less. So poison was actually the name of the perfume, but it also was the product we tested that had the most phthalates. It had 4 different kinds, highest levels. They have since reformulated it after our report came out, and the Times made us airbrush the name off the product, but people still knew what it was. So this caused a big stir. People were interested. Why are phthalates in beauty products? Turns out they're used in fragrance. That makes the fragrance stick around for a long, long time effect, like person who left the elevator and you can still smell them effect. That's what phthalates are used for in cosmetics. So when this came out, lots of people were interested in this study and also asking the question, what else is in cosmetics? How can we even figure it out? It wasn't really that much of a conversation back then, and it really wasn't very easy to figure it out. So my colleagues and I set about trying to figure it out. We put together a coalition of 8 environmental health groups, and we started to do research. And I worked on this for about 10 years with this coalition. And you can find all of our info at safecosmetics.org. And I talked a lot about this, our research and what we found, in the interview that I did for this conference. So if you're interested in that topic, you can watch my video interview. And just the short story is that most products that we put on our bodies, put in our hair, on our faces, in the bathtubs with our children, contain chemicals that are known to be toxic, linked to cancer, reproductive harm, skin problems, and many range of health effects. And they're low levels, and we tested hundreds of products and sent them to a lab to report stuff that was in the products that wasn't on labels, which was quite a bit. We found carcinogens in baby product, lots of allergens in fragrance, lots of some chemicals linked to cancer and neurological effects have been found in fragrance. So the companies never said, you did not find that chemical in my product. They never said, that chemical is not toxic. They said, it's just low levels and you can't prove it causes harm, so there's no need to worry. But what we found is the same chemicals were used over and over and over, and all the products have the same low levels of the same carcinogens, the same reproductive toxins. Formaldehyde in baby products, for example, was one thing we found and reported. Baby shampoos, bubble baths, lotions, etc. And we found 2 carcinogens in Johnson's baby shampoo, the iconic, safe and gentle as water, pure as can be, given to moms at the hospital. So I'll tell you that story quickly because I think it's super important about how much power we do have, but how hard we have to work that we shouldn't. Johnson & Johnson did reformulate their products. They've since taken carcinogens out, phthalates out, and a whole range of other chemicals of concern. It took them years, and we had to fight with them for years. But we did eventually get them to change. And the way we did it, I call it a $10 report that changed the multinational company. Because we reported, we found formaldehyde and 1,4-dioxane in Johnson's baby shampoo. It got a lot of press attention all over the world. Stores in China actually started pulling Johnson's baby products off the shelves. But the company would not change that product. We met with them. We had the American Nurses Association, many environmental health groups, scientists. We met over a 2-year period. We're not going to change our products. We say it's perfectly safe. What they did do was they put out a natural version of Johnson's baby shampoo that was more expensive, didn't have the toxins, less expensive than the truly natural brands. But they weren't going to change the iconic orange product. But then we discovered, somebody noticed that they weren't using formaldehyde in other countries. They were actually making different products with different formulations in different countries. So we documented that. We bought Johnson's baby shampoo in like 10 countries, or 13, I think it was, and we wrote up a report. And look, they're not using formaldehyde here, they're using it there. We gave it to a reporter at the Associated Press. She was planning to write about it. She called them. We called them. We always share our results with companies before we make them public. They were literally in 1 hour, they had a statement saying they were reformulating their products because they knew that was not going to fly, that they were doing something different in Europe, which is very often the case because Europe has better laws. So that's what one of my proudest achievements with the cosmetics campaign, and there were many, and it was a huge effort with a lot of people. Thank you. Thank you. Consumer pressure, public interest groups can change these industries, but it's taking too long. We need to go faster. And I do think that transparency is a key piece of it. As I said, the companies are extremely vulnerable to it. And so how do we make it stronger? How do we get more information?